Seed blocking is a way to start your seeds with minimal space. Your typical 72 cell trays take up this much room. You can start 120 seeds on a tray like this, which is just a plastic cafeteria tray. And that way you're saving room while you're waiting for your seeds to sprout, because inevitably not everything usually germinates and sprouts when you're planting seeds. So with the seed block, you start with some soil mix that I get wet. And then you pack it in here like this. And you come over to your tray. There. So what you're left with is a little block. They're all separate with a little tiny divot in the top of each one where you set your seed. And so I'll fill this tray and then I'll start my seeds. Another advantage of seed blocking as opposed to starting in a traditional seed tray is pretty quickly your plants will outgrow those cell trays that you start in. And especially for a plant that gets a big root system, it can get root bound pretty quickly. With seed trays and seed blocking, there's no outside barrier around each little block. So the seedlings will naturally air prune themselves, which makes for a healthier seedling and a stronger seedling going forward. So I start my seeds in here in these little trays. There'll be 120 seeds started on this tray when I'm done, and let them grow. And when they get to a point where they look like they need to be transplanted up, then you move to a 4-block seed blocker. And how that works is same way. You get your soil in there. And this soil I got a little bit wet. I probably should add some more dry to it, but you do that. Flatten it off on the bottom. I'll set it over here for an example. And you're left with a block like that. They come with little divots on the top that's naturally designed to take your little seedling blocks here and set right inside like that, which makes for minimal disturbance of the roots. And again, the advantage of these, and see these come right apart like this when you're ready to plant into the ground. Or if it's not time to go in the ground, you could go up into a bigger container at this point. But you will never get root bound here, because as the roots grow out and hit the air on the outer perimeter, it just naturally air prunes them. So it makes for a healthier seedling. Got my soil a little bit, oh boy.
Too wet, yeah.
Oh boy. I should be in the greenhouse doing this because this is messy.
Any other advantages to seed blocking?
The space taken needed to start 120 seedlings in a seed blocking. With seed blocking is this compared to, traditional seed trays, which are 72, takes up a lot more space. So it's a space saver. I start my seeds in the house because the longer I can wait to go out to the greenhouse, the better. So I can start a lot of seedlings with just these little seed blocking and save a lot of space. And then when it's time to bump up from these, by then I'm just having some cool nights in the greenhouse and I'm just having to heat a little bit at night. So I'll be in there probably by the beginning of April, and these will have a good start by then. This is March 9th. A little bit late start in what I wanted to start because I'm starting some flowers for a wedding, but this has given me a head start in the house without a lot of space commitment before I move into the greenhouse and have to utilize heat, which for us is propane to heat our greenhouse at night. Of course, during the day it gets very warm in there, so not necessary. In fact, the heat kicks on during the day. It can be 50 degrees outside or 40 degrees, but if the sun's out, it'll get to 70, 80 degrees in there. But at night, when the sun goes down, it cools off quickly, so we only heat the greenhouse at night. Let's talk about saving space when you're starting your seeds, because this takes up a lot less space than traditional seed starting with trays. The other thing is, at the end of the season, I am only storing a stack of these trays in my seed blocker as opposed to, tons and tons of seed trays and cells. And so this is way less space, way less environmental waste, because these plastic, they're called cafeteria trays. I got them off Amazon. They last a really long time. They're very sturdy. Your traditional seed 4-block cell seed starter, whatever they're called. They are very flimsy. You might get 2, 3, 4 seasons out of them, but eventually those end up in a landfill. Well, these are going to last, trays are going to last me for years. I've never had one of these trays break, and this is probably my 4th season using them. Just wash them up. They're very sturdy and just a much small environmental impact than traditional seed trays. Cost advantage. In the 2025 Johnny's seed book, which is my Bible because it's the best seed book. I buy seeds from lots of places, but I always refer to this because it gives you a lot of information about starting seeds, how many weeks to start before putting out, if they need light or dark to germinate. There's a lot of information. So this is my seed Bible. I originally bought my seed blockers from Johnny's a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I just priced, though, the current catalog, and this is $35 for the 20 smallest seed blocker. And then moving up from there, this was $40. But these are heavy duty. They'll last forever. So for a $75 investment for these seed blocks, and just, I mean, very small amount of money for these trays. The only other money I have into it is I buy, because humidity is an issue. These dry out very fast. That is one downfall, is these do dry out very fast. So you have to really keep an eye on them. When I first get my seeds in here, and remember this soil is pretty wet, these blocks, this has to be wet. I have a restaurant size roll of saran wrap, plastic wrap, food film, whatever you want to call it, which that's the cheapest way to buy is you go to like a Gordon Foods or some restaurant supply store and buy a big, huge thing of it. And I cover it with a layer of that because you do want to keep your humidity and you don't want your seeds to dry out. They have to stay moist. So there is that plastic, but I do reuse my plastic film over and over all season long. And then you have to watch very closely because the plastic film is laying directly over top of the seeds. When they sprout, they're going to come in contact with the plastic film. So you can quickly run into a problem with that. As opposed to if you have a traditional seed tray with a plastic dome, there's not going to be anything touching your seedlings. But as soon as I have like 50 to 75% germination on a tray like this, I go ahead and take the plastic off and then just keep it really well watered because these do dry out pretty quick. You're going to want to be checking these trays at least once a day and sometimes twice a day in the beginning until you transplant them up. It's because these blocks are so small, they dry out really fast. Advantage of these trays also in this system is you can bottom water. So what I do is I just carry like a little thing of water over to where I have all my seed trays set up and just lightly pour water around the edge and it'll soak. The water will soak up into these seed blocks and I water it that way. It's less trauma to the little very fragile seedlings rather than pouring water right on top. And then also I do keep a spray bottle, a glass spray bottle, and finally mist these a few times a day, a couple times a day. I'll just check them and mist them. And that won't harm the fragile seedlings, but for the most part I bottom water and then just hit them with mist, once or twice a day. Now the fun part.
The fun part? Why is it fun?
Unless you're doing 50 to 100 trays.
Or snap dry.
You start to get sore, hunched over, but I'm going to start with some. This is stock, which is a flower because we mostly grow flowers here. I'm going to scale back this year on the vegetables, probably just your peppers and tomatoes because until someone gets on top of the rabbit control problem around here, I'm done with cruciferous vegetables. So, anyways.
Why the colored plate? Why the jadeite?
Oh, so I can see the seed.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're gonna plant an individual seed in every single divot of these.
I'm gonna get a close up there. Go ahead.
There is not many seeds in this package. Oh, thank you, Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. Are you kidding me? I think I paid $4 for this package, and I'm not gonna fill too much more than one block. So they're gonna be a combination. Yeah. That's the other thing with planting 120 seeds in one tray. If you have a package with not very many seeds, you might have several kind. And my method for labeling is always like a masking tape. This is actually painter's tape. And I'll write right on there with permanent marker and then tape it to the edge. I'm going to probably have 3 different kinds of seeds on here. So, so you just want something, a toothpick's best. I don't have a toothpick, so today I'm using this plastic chopstick. You get a little wet on the end of your tongue, grab the seed, just barely touch the soil, and it'll stay there. Over here, goes pretty fast. Just like that. And then when I'm done, depending on the seed package directions, if they need light to germinate, it'll have a light dusting of vermiculite over top,
Right.
which helps keep your soil moist, but yet still lets light go through.
Perfect.
Or if they need darkness to germinate, which I have to read about these, I can't remember which. Then I will cover it with just a fine dusting of dry seed starter mix.
And
Plastic
then,
wrap, and then just watch it every day for sprouting. And when you get about 50 to 75% germination, then take the plastic off. Inevitably, you do get dirt in your mouth, but it's good dirt.